Knock, knock. Exactly my point. That is what we are talking about today. First Sunday of our new theme, Uncovering Your Authentic Self. So let's talk about that. What is that authentic self? What is your authentic self? What do we mean by the authentic self? You know, everything that we are, everything we think we are, maybe that's not it. You know, maybe it would be even simpler to begin there. Begin with what it isn't. Begin with what's not our authentic self. Okay, we are not our job, right? We're not our career. It's what we do, but it's not who we are. And you know, we can become so closely attached to making money in the world that we are able to pay our bills, we're able to accomplish the things, make our way in the world. We begin to think that maybe that's who we are. But it's not who we are. It's what we do. And it may or may not have anything to do with expressing authenticity. Might be just what you do to pay the bills. We are also not our birth order. Although you'll find lots and lots of similarities, right? I'm the youngest. I have these tendencies, you know, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah is one of the tendencies of the youngest, as a matter of fact. But the youngest has tendencies, right? He's the oldest or she's the middle, and, you know, they talk about all those tendencies. But those are just facts of your family. That's not your authentic self either. It is just a fact of your birth. And what about the gender? What about gender? I'm female. Although the archetypal masculine and feminine both exist within us, within each and every one of us, yes? We are the sacred marriage, that sacred mystical marriage of the divine feminine and masculine, so we contain both. Okay, so maybe that's not my authentic self. Maybe my horoscope is. Maybe my horoscope is. I'm a Gemini with an Aquarius ascendant sign, and my moon is someplace. My moon's someplace. I don't know where it is. But that's not our authentic self either. That's not our authentic self. Maybe, and it's not our eye color. It's not our hair color. It's not our heritage. It's not our ancestry. Those are all out picturings in the physical world of conditions, the world of effects. That's just the out picturing of an idea. That's all that is. It's just the shadow on the wall of this thing called life. But that's not our authentic self either. Ernest Holmes said this in Basic Ideas of Science of Mind. He said, we need to keep clearly in mind the difference between a fact, something that is evident and concrete, and a truth, that which everlastingly is, whether we can see it or not. So that's the authentic self, that eternal self, that seed of perfection nestled within us. That is the authentic self. So who do you think you are? Were you ever asked that as a child? Is that just me? Who do you think you are? And I remember thinking when I was little, oh my God, don't you know me? I've been in this family since I was born. What do you mean you don't know who I am? You know, what do you mean you don't know? But we know what the big people around us were referring to, right? When they said those things to us, you know, that was the line that was used in addressing us when we as children stood in our power, right? And spoke our truth as we saw it. We made an autonomous decision, you know, whether to cut our hair down the middle or something, you know. Or we struck out in our own individuality in some way, and the feedback was less than positive, wasn't it? Who do you think you are to do what you did is basically the end of that, right? To do what you did. It was said to keep us in our place. It was said to keep us small and humble. And I remember thinking, well, the big people in my life don't get my respect just by way of the fact that they were born before I was. They They had to earn my respect in my mind. Everyone did. And that was an opinion that did not go over well with the adults in my family. Just did not go over well with the aunts and the uncles and the grandparents and the extended family, whatever. And I don't even remember how long I was in timeout for that one. But you know, it came as a result of me thinking I knew who I was. I knew who I was, and I knew that I had every right to be respected, and I knew that people in my presence needed to earn my respect in return. It wasn't something that was automatically granted just because you happened to have been born, you know, a decade before me. That's when I learned children should be seen and not heard. Yay, there's another one, right? How dreadful is that? Which led ultimately to the insult of insults. She is just so full of herself. And I remember standing there thinking, well, who the hell else should I be full of? If not myself. I mean, really, this is who we are, right? That one just absolutely never made sense to me. But we grew up with all these weird rules in our families. And of course, every family has a different variety of those rules. But we try to maneuver ourselves through this minefield, called childhood. And the thing is, we don't have children's souls any more than babies have baby souls. We come into this world with a soul, with a full, complete soul that is just desiring to experience. And our soul is calling us to know of ourselves. Our soul is calling us to our fullness in life, even as children. And then the adults in our families are just not ready to deal with that a lot of times. The adults in our lives when we were little didn't have the tools in order, to be able to handle this little body and this tremendous soul that just wanted to express. And so as a result, we kind of get squashed down, right? We get made to fit in. We get our light hidden under that bushel of family conventions, whatever that is. And so we're left to think, well, who am I? We're left to try to figure out those things on our own. Why am I here? And then we come to a teaching like this one, and we begin to explore that. We begin to explore that nature of reality. Ernest Holmes said, in Living Without Fear, he said, there is but one knower, and what this one knows must be and is so. And this is true when this one knows through what we call the mind of humans. The question might arise at this point, suppose a human knows something which contradicts truth. Okay? The answer would be, humans cannot really know anything that contradicts truth. He may suppose something which is not true. He can assume an opposite to reality, but he cannot know that which is not so. For instance, Ernest Holmes goes on, we might believe that 2 and 2 equal 5, but it still makes 4. There's a great difference between knowing and believing. We can believe anything. We can only know that which is truth. So we explore this nature as we're growing. We explore this. What is this nature of reality? What is this truth with a capital T? And we begin to explore what that means, to be full of ourselves. What does it mean to be full of ourselves? What is in there? Who is in there? And who is in there is the authentic self. Who is in there is the authentic self. It's not our age. It's not our job. It's not our horoscope. It's not our birth order. It's not our marital status. It's not our gender. It's not our race. Who and what is in there is our authentic self. Being authentic, living from that seed of perfection that is nestled within us, that's the process of uncovering. Because it's there all along. We were born with it. The only thing that happened is it got covered up by family conventions and rules and regulations and in culture and conditioning. So it's our job on this process of discovery to uncover what we've been all along. It is about bringing forth what is within us, that unique, individualized expression of spirit that we've been all along. We've been it all along, and perhaps it's been stifled. Judy Garland said, be a first-rate version of yourself, not a second-rate version of anyone else. I love it. That's what we're called to do in life, to be that authentic self. You know, there are 7.5 billion people on the earth, and no two are alike. We're like little snowflakes. No two are alike. We are individualized expressions for a reason. No one can do what you can do exactly the way you do it. So we start to look at this unique way of being human. This unique way of being human as only we can do it. And we start to take a good, honest, and long look at what is in there. What's in there? The light and the dark, right? The quote-unquote good and evil, the good and the not so good, whatever you want to call it. We start on this path of self-discovery, of self-knowing. And we begin to peel back that, you know the analogy of the peeling back the onion, I hate that analogy. I'm not crazy about onions. But what I'm going to use is artichokes. I love artichokes. We begin to peel back the artichoke, okay? Not the onion, the artichoke. I'm using artichoke here as the metaphor because, well, the onion one's been explained 100 times. But when we peel back the onion, all we get is more onion, right? You peel back the artichoke, you get to the heart. See, much better analogy. We begin to peel back the layers of the artichoke and we get to the heart. And that's what we're going for. We're going for the heart. We're going for our authenticity. We're going for our soul. That's what we want to get in touch with. That's what we want to free and let loose in the world. And if you're listening, San Francisco Paul, thank you for that, because my prac student said that. He's the one who brought forth the artichoke analogy, and I love that. So when you're listening, thank you. The darkness that we uncover also points the way to our healing, right? We start peeling back the layers and we see the dark and the light. We see it all. We see the skilled behavior and the unskilled behavior. We see all the aspects of us. Like Debbie Ford did that tremendous work. She dedicated her whole career to the dark side and doing the work of the dark side. But the darkness is so integral to revealing our wholeness because it points our way to our healing all the time. It points the way to those things that maybe we got from childhood, those false beliefs that we carry with us. Don't be too noisy, don't be too loud. Who do you think you are? You're going to get a swelled head, you won't be able to fit through the door. I heard that one quite a few times. The darkness points the way to our healing, to those places where we don't know of our authenticity. So these false ideas that we hold, we may have carried them from childhood. The truth is, when you get all the way into the authentic self, there is no dark and light. There is only truth. There's no good and evil. There's only one. Ernest Holmes said there's only a unified field of knowingness. There's only this one. It has many aspects, but there's only the one. In Know Yourself, Ernest Holmes said, truth knows no opposites. When we take away the belief in evil, it flees with the dissolution of this belief. We must be continually reminding ourselves of the power of our own word and of our ability to consciously use it for the good desired. We must know that truth produces freedom because truth is freedom. In its quiet expectancy and in this calm confidence, our work should be done. The result rests in the eternal law of mind. We are one with that. That is our authentic self, that seed of perfection that is nestled within us. And it's up to us to let it out. You've heard of the acorn principle, right? The acorn principle, which says everything that the mighty oak is contained in that little acorn. Everything that mighty oak is to become is contained in that little tiny acorn. And all that is needed for that acorn to create that mighty oak is the conditions, the moisture and the soil. And just like the acorn, we have everything within us needed to live a fully self-actualized life, to be that fully expressed, unique, individualized expression of spirit that we already are, that we came here as. And it's been that way since birth. It's been that way since birth. Anybody born to a family that they had no business being in? Right? Didn't you feel like it's like, what planet were these people from? You know, because we have that individual soul. We have that individual soul. And sometimes we look around and we're like, how'd I get placed here? You know? But the truth is, it's the calling of our soul. So what are the things that you did? What are the things you gravitated toward when you were a child? You know, I remember being little. I remember I was a member of the Staten Island Zoo. I was born and raised on Staten Island, okay. Member of the Staten Island Zoo, loved animals. Way back then, this is like in the dark ages of zoos, right? If you were a member of the zoo, they'd let you take an animal home with you. I mean, it's like, that is like totally cool, right? Bring home an owl, bring home a little, you know, didn't get to bring home the little baby tiger, but you could get in the enclosure and play with them. I mean, this was the kind of stuff that members were able to do. It was a riot. Okay, this always stayed with me. Even when I was in college and I was in biomedical research, I was working in an animal hospital. You know, blood's all the same, hearts, livers, kidneys, it's all the same stuff. We get different kinds of worms, though. But the thing is, I was still doing the same work. I was still taking care of animals. I was still loving animals. I was still doing what my soul was calling me to do. You know, I painted as a child. I loved to paint and draw, and I painted and drew in college, and I painted and drew all the time. And even though my major was biomedical research, I had this minor in fine arts. So it was something that stuck with me. It's so nice to get back to it. Thank you, Dorothy Darling. Dorothy Darling, who facilitated, the Artist's Way class and reignited that within me. So now I have a big old easel in my house, and I'm painting again, and it's something I have not done since college. But it's letting that thing out again. It's letting it out. It's letting that unique nature out. It's doing what we were meant to do. It's living the authentic life, whether or not it makes money. Making money is not the point. Living the authentic life makes point. Where's Mark? Mark's around here someplace. You know, oh, there you are, I'm sorry. Making music, right? It's the same way. It is something that is within you. It has to come out. This is your authentic self. Our authentic self has nothing to do with making money, or it can make us money. That's okay if it does. I'm not saying it can't. But it doesn't have to. It's about expressing what is within us to express. It's about the call of our soul, and we have to answer that call. And what I know is the authentic self has gotten covered over the years, right? With convention, with family rules, with culture, with expectations of others, what, you know, your parents wanted you to be, what, you know, all those things. And yet it's still there, and it's waiting for you to free it. It is waiting for you to let it out. We must walk in our power and do the things we're here to do, as only we can do them. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, "The Spirit of God is an undivided and indivisible wholeness. It fills all time with its presence and all space with its activity of its thought. Everyone is an incarnation of God, a unique incarnation. All are rooted in the one life. Your endeavor, then, is not so much to find God, but to realize God's presence and to understand this presence is with you always. Nothing can be nearer to you than that which is the very essence of your being. Your outward search culminates in the greatest of all possible discoveries, finding God at the center of your own being. Life flows up from within you. Life flows up from within you." That always gets me. So this week, your challenge is reconnect with that authentic self. Crack open that little acorn that is within you and allow that mighty oak, which is you, to blossom forth, to grow, nurture, and be that unique, individualized soul in expression, that activity of God that you are. Thank you so much.